So I thought I'd get a quick upload in while I'm on vacation with some downtime, of course, because I was traveling over the weekend. I didn't have a live chat for the game against the Hawks, nor did I have a post-game video. And I did catch pieces of the game on Saturday, but when I saw that Vucevic was a last-minute scratch to play in the game, I knew the Bulls likely weren't winning this one. Although I will say I was pretty impressed by how well they actually played, despite not having either Vucevic or Lavine. I truly expected the game to be a blowout, especially after playing in Chicago the night before, but the Bulls actually made it a respectable game. They were still very inconsistent in the fact that they had a solid first half but did not show up well at all in the second half, particularly the third quarter. But the fact that they were able to remain competitive with the Hawks, a team that was healthy, was fairly impressive to me. Now, I won't go into too much depth for this game, especially given I missed a good chunk of it while traveling. The first game of the season of the Bulls that I haven't seen in full, but in this video I'll briefly go over this upcoming week of games, although it's probably a moot point at this rate given the Bulls are not going to be making the playoffs, which just pains me to say given I thought there was no way that they would miss the playoffs after they traded for Vucevic, but here we are with less than 1% chance of making it with 8 games remaining on the schedule. So I'll do a quick recap of my thoughts on the game against the Hawks, and then I'll do my weekly preview video for the upcoming week of games. So what's going on, everyone? You're listening to Bull Central here. Hope you're all doing well. So as I mentioned, last night's game, what I like seeing from this was the fact that, the Bulls played decently well. Really just in the first half, which is what I saw mostly of, but playing well without their two best players in Lavine and Vucevic. And when I heard that Vucevic wasn't going to be in the game, and I thought, first of all, it was a little suspect. Almost makes you think, are they just trying to tank the rest of the season further to give them better odds at keeping that pick for it to fall into the top 4? But anyway, when I saw that Casey Johnson tweeted that Vucevic was going to be out of the lineup, I thought, well, we better see a productive night on offense from Patrick Williams. No more single-digit scoring games when you have your two best scorers out of the lineup. You're going to need him to step up. And he looked a little timid initially, but then he had that and one dunk. I think it was on John Collins. It might have been Clint Capella. But I think once he had that and one dunk, that gave him a boost of confidence that he needed to finally start being more aggressive on the offensive end. I mean, he also kind of had to. Someone had to pick up the slack on offense with no Vucevic. Coby White can't do it all on himself, and obviously Markkanen hasn't been able to do it recently, and Patrick finally showed up and he had himself a strong game. 19 points, 7 for 13 shooting, 2 for 2 from 3. Would love to see him be a little more aggressive on the boards, though. He only had 2 rebounds. Thaddeus Young also had himself a nice game, again flirting with a triple-double, but came up just short. 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 9 assists. Outside of those two, though, those were the only guys that had impressive games. I mean, Coby White, in a game where Lavine and Vucevic were out, you would have thought that he would come out and have a big game on offense for the team, either through scoring or facilitating, but only 12 points, shooting 5 for 16 from the floor, 1 for 6 from 3. He had more turnovers than he had assists in that game. And then Lauri Markkanen, although, what I did like seeing from him was that he was a bit more aggressive on the board, snagging 11 rebounds. He shot the ball terribly, though. Just could not get anything falling for him. 3 for 10 from the floor with 7 points. The Bulls just continue to struggle shooting from 3. Looking at this box score, 6 for 24 in that game. Also, again, very poor free throw shooting. The shooting just 64%. I mean, it's the little things like that, making free throws, that can have a huge impact on the game. The Bulls did have 11 steals as a team, which was pretty impressive. You don't usually see that from them. But then again, of course, turning the ball over 13 times. Anyway, like I mentioned, I'm not going to go too in depth for this game, given I missed a good portion of it and basing a lot of it on what happened from what I'm seeing in the box score alone. But when the Bulls are without Lavine and Vucevic, you can't expect that this game is going to go over too well. And for what it's worth, it wasn't that bad of a game for them, given that they were shorthanded without their best players. Also, what is going on with Troy Brown Jr.? I thought he was supposed to be out for like 1 or 2 games. This has now turned into what seems like 7+ games at this point. Anyway, as for the week ahead, though, I mean, it's not getting any easier. The Bulls will be taking on the Sixers tomorrow, which is never going to be an easy matchup, even when they're shorthanded, which I don't believe any of their players are currently out at this time, given that Embiid, Simmons, and Tobias Harris, they all play the other night against the Hawks. The Bulls couldn't even beat the Sixers without Embiid, and Simmons. So that's not going to be a fun game for the Bulls, especially if Vooch is still out by then, and it sounds like we shouldn't be expecting Lavine back anytime soon. So with all of that, I mean, that whole situation with Zach Lavine is just getting even more sinister to me, but I'll leave that alone for now. But yeah, I mean, one of the best teams in the league that has a great defensive team, both inside and on the perimeter. Forget about it. Bulls aren't going to have a chance there in this game. If somehow both Lavine and Vucevic are back, that could make a little bit of a difference, but even then, I think the Sixers are just too good of a team. The other good thing is that the Bulls will actually get a few days off and won't play again until Thursday, where they'll be taking on the Hornets, which is a game the Bulls could win, especially since they'll be a little rested. Maybe Lavine will be back by then, we'll see. But also keep in mind that LaMelo Ball is now back in the lineup for the Hornets, and it's even possible that Gordon Hayward will be back by Thursday. So it's not going to be the same Hornets team that the Bulls faced a couple weeks ago, where they really handled them in a great win. Then the Bulls will take on the Boston Celtics the following evening. I mean, the Bulls did just recently beat the Celtics in one of their more impressive wins without Lavine, but then they followed that up with an embarrassing loss against the Cavs. Celtics have been on a roll though, especially after that Jason Tatum 60 piece in which they came back after being down 32 points to the Spurs. That was just an incredible performance by him. And then finally the Bulls will close out the week with their easiest matchup, probably their easiest matchup for the rest of the season, in taking on the Detroit Pistons, who are really in the tankathon race at this point. Hopefully there aren't any excuses in that game and the Bulls will just secure a win. But at this point, guys, who knows with this team? If I had to give a prediction for this week, which no one can predict how this team is going to do, but I give my predictions every week, so I won't back out on this one. If I had to take a guess, I would say that at best, the Bulls go 2-2, beating the Hornets and the Pistons, but more likely 1-3 and only beating the Pistons, as I'm sure the Hornets are going to be playing hard, given they're looking to secure that 8 spot to have a better chance at the play-in game and only needing to win 1 game rather than 2 if they were to fall to the 9 or 10 spot. Anyway, those are my predictions for the week. Let me know what your guys' predictions are. I think we all just need to start looking ahead for next season and hoping that significant moves are made this offseason to enhance this roster, because at this point, this season is a wrap. I think we can all agree on that. Either way, I'll still be here though to make videos even in a lost season. As most of you probably do know, I am visiting my family for the next few weeks, so I won't be uploading as consistently as you probably are used to seeing, but I'll still upload from time to time, especially if any big Bulls news comes out. Given with the season winding down and the Bulls out of playoff contention, there isn't going to be that much to talk about, but we'll see. The things can change. Anyway, I'll try and have a live game chat for the game tomorrow against the Sixers, so feel free to join if you're interested in that. The live chat will be both here on the channel as well as in the Discord. Link to the Discord is in the description. Be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan, as I post daily Bulls content. Thanks again, as always, guys, for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next one.